Here is Spencer Cox wearing his little obedience mask during a Zoom interview, explaining that he supports excluding white students from an academic scholarship program purely because of their skin color, because that's anti-racism. No, it's not racism. It's anti-racism.
Tucker Carlson isn't a news reporter. He sells snake oil. How he frames his stories misleads his audience into believing the narrative he wants. He shows partial clips and presents his opinions as truths. This is Rebel HQ. I'm Sandee Lovas. Recently, Republican Utah Governor Spencer Cox found himself in the crosshairs of Tucker Carlson. Why? Spencer vetoed a bill that prevents trans children from playing on the sports teams that align with their gender identity. Lawmakers in Utah overrode his veto and the anti-trans bill was enacted. Spencer wrote a letter explaining his decision, which was thoughtful, informative, and he expressed concern for the well-being of trans children in his state, which, as far as Republicans go, is pretty extraordinary. This kind of compassion doesn't fit well with the Republican right-wing agenda. Tucker Carlson feels Spencer Cox belongs with the Republicans about as much as progressives feel Joe Manchin is a Democrat. Because of that, Tucker wants to turn his audience against Spencer in hopes that come next election, they'll vote him out and replace him with someone who has more extremist views. This short clip demonstrates the snake oil sales tactics Tucker uses.
Here is Spencer Cox wearing his little obedience mask during a Zoom interview, explaining that he supports excluding white students from an academic scholarship program purely because of their skin color, because that's anti-racism. No, it's not racism. It's anti-racism.
Tucker preemptively tells his audience what his opinion is and what they should expect to hear. That way, they're more likely to focus on the words that support Tucker's narrative.
The Utah Jazz is excluding white children from consideration for their scholarship program. Do you think this is racist? And what will you do to prevent the Utah Jazz from acting in this racist manner?
Earlier, Tucker mocked Spencer for wearing an obedience mask during a Zoom meeting. Look at the date. This video was from April 2021, right after the first dark winter of COVID. Look at the background. Do you think this is Spencer's house? He was in the state capitol building where a mask mandate was still in place with a broadcast team from KSL, some of whom were working within a 6-foot range of him. And Tucker had to go back a year to find a clip of a person asking, "Do you think this is racist, and tell me what you're going to do about this racist thing?" Because the framing of this question matches the narrative that anti-white racism is what we should be worried about, and it pushes the audience to conclude that what Spencer is about to say is anti-white before they've even heard him speak.
Well, I don't think it's racist. In fact, I think it's in response to, unfortunately, some very difficult and racist injustices that have happened in our community for a long time.
So here's this moist little guy sitting alone in his gilded room with a mask on, telling us it's not racist to exclude people from a scholarship based on their race. Does anyone else in Utah believe this? We'd like to meet them. There can't be many of them.
Tucker belittles Spencer by calling him a moist little guy, which is never a phrase I thought I'd ever hear and hope to never again. And Tucker was lying when he said Spencer was alone in that room. He then repeats his opinion as being the correct truth without further context. But if you let the clip play out just a little longer, this is what you would have heard.
Well, I don't think it's racist. In fact, I think it's in response to, unfortunately, some very difficult and racist injustices that have happened in our community for a long time. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do for the Utah Jazz. Absolutely nothing. Because you know what? I believe in the Constitution, and I believe in the freedom of businesses to make decisions, and decisions that are right for them. Your kid or my kid, they have no right to the Utah Jazz's money, and the Utah Jazz and Ryan Smith can do the things that they want to do with their funds and their revenues. And look, it's an awesome program, and it's something that we should be celebrated.
Which is a perfectly reasonable answer, and it falls in line with Republican ideology.
Most people in Utah have more sense than that. Racism is when you hurt people based on their skin color, right? Right.
Wrong. Racism is not one thing and is expressed in a multitude of ways. Now, if we look at the lower third, it says no academic scholarships for white students. But what does the Utah Jazz Scholarship actually say? Eligibility criteria includes the following: graduate of a Utah high school, person from an underrepresented group, demonstrated financial need, preference for first-generation college student, incoming freshman enrolling as a full-time student for the given school year. Interesting, there's no mention of what skin color a person must have to qualify for the scholarship. And this is one scholarship being provided by one private group in a state with many scholarships being provided for many reasons. To put so much energy and anger into this one opportunity instead of working towards making post-secondary education free so everyone could benefit shows your true colors. The biggest problem with Fox News is that most of its viewers don't know Tucker Carlson's show is his opinion, even though when in court fighting a lawsuit, Fox's lawyers argue that any reasonable viewer arrives with an appropriate amount of skepticism about the statements he makes. I get the feeling no reasonable person would watch him. And the Fox News and Tucker Carlson websites advertise his show as a news program. Snake oil harms because people don't get the treatment they need and their illness spreads. Fox News harms because people don't get the truth they need and their ignorance spreads. It's in Tucker's best interest to keep people uneducated and angry at one another so they don't learn the system that keeps people like Tucker in power is the same system that is keeping them down. And he doesn't just sell bad narratives, he also sells bad mugs, as shown in his pinned tweet on Twitter. But really, this would be more appropriate. For more of my stuff, look for me on social media as Left of the Box. Don't forget to hit buttons and leave comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time, get informed, get involved.